before we go on to our last lesson for Unit 1, we're going to do a recap of Lesson 8, which is function. So if we look at our vocab corner, we learned about function, which is a relationship between the input and output, and there is exactly one output for each input. And we learned the notation for function, which is f of x, not f times x or x fx, it's f of x. And the vertical line test, where it helps you to see if the graph is a function or not. And if it hits the graph once, then that means it is a function. If it's more than once, then it's not a function. There's also representation of functions. You could do it by creating a table, by mapping, equation, which has f of x, and then a graph. The two types of functions that we learned were discrete, which basically states that the function, the points are not connected, and the values are distinct and separated, and continuous, where the points are connected, they create a line or a smooth curve. Right, so there are two examples. Oops, let me extend this. There's two examples where we learned how to solve functions. And when you see, whether it's f of x or g of n or k of t, you know that you're dealing with functions. So this one says g of n equals n squared plus 1. Find g of negative 10. So first I'm going to write my function that they gave us, and then I'm going to replace the n with the negative 10 where the n was. So wherever there's an n, I'm putting negative 10 in that place. So it's all about replacing or substitution. So if you have a negative number, make sure that it's in the parentheses, because if you're squaring it, you're squaring that negative number, not the positive number, and then attaching the negative afterwards. So this will become 100, and then you just add on the 1, and when you write your answer, you should have it in the form of g of negative 10 equals 101, or whatever the answer would be. Same thing for number 2. Instead of doing the plus, we have the minus, same thing. So I'm going to rewrite what's there, which was k of t equals t squared minus 5. They're asking us to find k of negative 5. So I'm going to, wherever there's a t, negative 5 is taking its spot. And since it's a negative, I'm putting in parentheses because I'm squaring the whole negative number. And then adding the negative 5. Simplify, and then my final answer will have the function notation, not k of t, it's k of negative 5 because we found an output which was 20. And I'll move this to 20, and then this one is 101. Alright, so before we start our last lesson of this unit, I'm going to show you a YouTube video. So I'll go to that. And it's all in the title, it's all about the space. So you'll watch this video that will lead us to our lesson. Let me expand. Take a while to load this. Hopefully it doesn't take forever. It shouldn't. One. Expand this. Skip the ad and let's start.
Not all homeowners are blessed with spacious bedrooms where they can invest in any furniture without worrying about making their bedroom space more cramped. Some homeowners have to get by with limited space, which means they have to downsize all the furniture that is prone to make their bedroom look smaller. If your bedroom is rather small, don't worry. Try your luck with one or two of these 10 small space ideas to maximize a small bedroom. Check them out. As you already know, this list is ranked for you by simphome.com. 10. Add drawers under the bed. Some people think that staying as close to the floor as possible is the best way to survive in a small room. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. Trust me, you can expand the opportunity of organizing your bedroom better by raising your bed a few inches off the ground. By doing it, you'll be able to add a few drawers under your bed. You can make a few drawers with sliders, just like this bedroom. You can also opt for a few boxes with casters for less arduous underbed storage. 9. Bed and closet combo idea. Don't have a closet? No biggie. You can still organize your clothes and shoes well despite the limited space. Try investing in this bed and closet combo. This bed is raised about 4 feet, so it has sufficient space for a closet underneath. It features a small door that allows for you to have easy access to the closet. The hydraulic support bars help make sure that the bed is at the desired angle while you are tidying up the closet or taking your outfit. Next to the bed are steps that provide an access to your comfy bed. 8. Multi-purpose storage cube idea. Thrift stores and flea markets can be a great place to find treasures. Not the real ones, though.
All right. So, basically, if you want to see more and you're interested, that's the website for it. So this will lead us to our lesson, which deals with perimeters and area. So our objective is, how do we utilize formulas to find perimeter and area of figures? So just like you saw in the video, if you have a small space, and most of you, you have your bedrooms, or you may be sharing with your brothers or your sisters, and you're trying to figure out how to maximize your space. So in order to do that, you would need to know, what is the area of your room? What are the sizes of the walls? What can you fit in there? What could you put to make your room or your section of your room look great? So we're going to be learning about how to find perimeter, how to find the area of certain shapes, especially irregular shapes. Because majority of us have rooms that are square or rectangular. A few may have weird shaped rooms, and then you have to figure out, can I squeeze in or fit a certain particular type of furniture in that spot with that weird shape? So we're going to be doing that. And most of you may have encountered area and perimeter in your junior high, middle school years. But again, it's just review. If you know this, it's just review. If you forgot, again, review, going over it. So perimeter, it's the distance around a figure. Perimeter is found by adding the distance of each side of a figure. So in order to find the perimeter of this shape, you've got 5 sides. 5 sides is a pentagon. You add up the 5 sides, A, B, C through E, to give you the total perimeter. That's just it. Perimeter, add in the sides. So with perimeter, we have the circumference. Circumference is also perimeter, but dealing with circles. Again, it's the distance around the circle. So imagine if you're in a track and you're running that circle or running that oval shaped track, you would find out, okay, how many miles, what was the distance that you did to complete one lap? So that would be the outer part. And in order to find the circumference of a circle, it would either be 2 pi r or pi d. The d stands for distance, r stands for the radius. So 2 radii, that's a plural for radius, gives you the diameter. And here's the label. So you got c for circumference, r for radius, d for diameter, and the pi, the symbol, the Greek symbol, is pi. Right? So with area, it's the amount of squares inside a figure, if you want to think of it that way. So we have a diagram. It shows a rectangular shape, the outside part 5 feet by 4. In order to find the area, you would basically multiply, for a rectangle, the length times width. So again, if you were to split this, you got 5 columns, 4 rows. you get 20 squared. 20 square feet, 4 times 5, 20 square feet. And I've noticed this in past times where students mix up area and perimeter. If they're asking you for the perimeter, you're adding up the outside sides. Area, you're figuring out what's inside. So perimeter, outside, area, inside. Don't get that mixed up. All right, so there's different area formulas for different shapes, and we're going to learn them all. So for the first one, we have a square. A square has 4 equal sides. So the formula will be A equals S squared. Basically, you just take the two sides. You take one of the side and you square it to give you the area of the square. Rectangle is length times width. For a parallelogram, it's base times height. So you got the base of the parallelogram and the height. This slanted part is not the height. And I've seen most students do that where they take this, whatever number this is, and replace it as the height. Height means vertical. So if someone were to measure your height, would it make sense to get a full accurate reading if you were slanted or you were bent or something like that? No. Height, vertical. Something's vertical, you're able to measure from top to bottom. So think of it that way. So the height of this parallelogram is where the base is and up to the corner of the two sides of this parallelogram. That represents the height. And you can see by looking at it, it forms a triangle. So with that, you should know with the triangle, we have base times height. Whoops. Go to my select. Base times height, half base times height. So again, you see that little triangle? Think of it. That's the triangle of the parallelogram, so you would say base times height. When you're doing for a triangle, you will have area equals half base times height, or you have the b times h over 2. Same thing. And they showed you two different types of triangle where you have your regular triangle, you can find the height, which would be this side, and you may have a triangle that doesn't look like this. So basically you have to extend either the top or the bottom and get the height of that triangle. And also for this one, you could do the middle of the triangle and shoot a vertical line to the base to get that height. So either outside or inside, but most of the time you usually find the height inside. For a trapezoid, this is usually a tricky one because with this one, some letters are missing, like the H, and sometimes we get the B. There's two bases that you have to add. So it's area times half times height times base, the first base plus the second base to get you the area. So again, the height represents this part, not the slanted part, and the two bases. So remember, half height times the two bases added together. And for circle, it is pi r squared. Most students confuse the pi r squared and place it for the perimeter, or vice versa. For perimeter or the circumference, it's 2 pi r or pi d, and for area is pi r squared. So basically, you just have to memorize it in order to know which one to use when they're asking you whatever to do in a problem. All right. So let's go on. Actually, this one has frozen. Let me just try to get this going. Give me a while. And task manager. Get that out. Alright, let me expand this again. And let me go on to the next page. Alright. So we have examples that we're going to do. We're going to find the perimeter and the area. So for this one, we have a shape of a square. Let me get a pen. All right. And they gave you the side. The side is 6.9 inches. So they want us to find the perimeter. Since this is a square, then that means for the perimeter, we just add up all the sides. You could do 6.9 plus 6.9. Why? If this is all the same for the perimeter, oops, how come this is not working? All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this part 1 and then continue with part 2 because this program has froze and I don't want to start all over again. See you in part 2.